This is one of those times that you wish that you had an hour or two. But the point is, no matter how long you discuss politics, it's never enough. And we were having this conversation behind the scenes. And Omojo, I think you should come in here, that it doesn't matter how many people you see. It's how you see them.
I said Nigeria is not an exceptionalism when it comes to money or going to meet people in politics. It's a global phenomenon. The difference with Nigeria, where Nigeria is exceptional, is the kind of conversations you have when you meet them. For instance, in Nigeria, when you meet them, you have to drop something, you have to solve financial problems, somebody's school fees, somebody's hungry, somebody's rent. That's when Nigeria is different. With respect to the spending, Nigeria is different because in other places, you spend money for your structure, you spend money for your volunteers, you spend money for your ads, to create ads, to engage.
Yeah, you spend money on rice and
yeah, you have to feed people, you have to put, it's a lot of, and it doesn't make sense because that transaction, people are going to have to pay back when you get into office, one way or the other. On the other side, it's a different kind of transaction because it's not transactional.
So is this baby politics because we are young? Although we've had, I mean, for example, progressive, like you say, have been here since times 3 more than 100 years. Right?
You can't separate the political culture from the culture that is prevalent in the entire society.
What's that culture?
Very good. In the Yoruba culture, if I go to visit an elderly man, it is expected that I don't go empty-handed.
Kola nut is okay.
Well, kola nut is also could be printed.
Excuse me?
Okay, it's a cultural thing. You don't go empty-handed.
What are the implications of that?
It's a poverty thing. It's a poverty thing more than a cultural thing.
What are the implications of that? If, for example, in running, you spent your personal money to do all of this. How did you get the money? Now, how are you recouping the money you spent?
To a large extent, when I came out to run, people bought into my vision. The same way I met you, I mean, I walked up in the restaurant, I said, hey, good idea. And I had so many friends that bought into it. From the very first day, I can never forget, a friend from Atlanta that I've not seen in a while sent 20,000 naira into my campaign account.
20,000 naira.
20,000 naira.
Only. What can that one
buy?
No,
as in the very first day.
They won. That must have inspired them.
People kept giving money to the camp because they felt that, oh, you're different, you're running for local government, they saw the plans. Yes, so people started giving to the campaign, and that was the money we were using to fund the campaign.
But you didn't get to the primaries.
Yes, I didn't. But like I say, it's a marathon that I didn't get it this time around. For as long as I did not give up, as at that time, I kept at it. I'm still at it. Opportunity is going to open up one day, and I'll have my day.
So what are the lessons for that? What do you think? The lessons for that for those who may want to run, who are thinking of, you didn't hear his story before you decided to run. Yeah. You just wanted to make a change, and you're willing to wait. But aren't you impatient?
Well, the more I see how things dwindle, I kind of get more impatient, and I'm thinking probably I still have to get at it. But it kind of fuels that energy even more, that they need people like us.
Yeah. Who are people like you?
People that think a little bit differently and probably a little bit more cohesively.
You are not
in terms of not thinking really of what I'm going to get out of it.
Yeah, you're not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
You're just a businesswoman.
I'm a businesswoman. I'm an entrepreneur. But and I'm a social worker. But the bottom line is that the more you see things go wrong, you feel like, come on, in this little community, if I can make this much of a difference, in a bigger space, I think I can do a lot better. And when you look at countries like Kigali, Rwanda.
Rwanda is the example everybody's giving now.
Oh my God, it's classic. It's classic. Things are working. Most of the schools are coming in. How much more Nigeria that we have all that it takes?
That's a good example. Tell me what the Rwandan example holds for us, especially for runners and people who are the ones voting.
We need to nuance Rwanda better because even though it's a country, Rwanda is a country of about 12 million people. They are a country that there are two major ethnic groups. There are two major ethnic groups, but in terms of politics, the government has made it look like it's one. But Nigeria is a nation of many. It's a nation of many. Then it's a democracy, but it's a democracy where the presidents can actually, in a swap, make anything happen. So I don't think that Rwanda is a very good example. I think when we compare Nigeria, we look at federal republics. Countries either that have the kind of population we have, that have the kind of colonial history that we have, that have the kind of ethnic issues that, for instance, I used to think that it would be better to have just the Senate or the House of Representatives. Then when I thought about it, that's going to create more issues because some ethnic groups will say they don't have representation. So these numbers, there's a method to the Nigerian madness, but it doesn't mean that we have to make the madness the norm. And for anybody who is interested in changing the system, whether running like George or just a regular Nigerian, you have to think marathon. The reason is because those guys that we say have spoiled this country, at least they are committed to spoiling it. Those that say they care to fixing the country are always very quick to check out of whatever they are doing to make that change happen. It's a marathon, and when we say marathon, it doesn't mean, because what happens is 2 years to election, somebody comes to you, what are we doing about 2019? Please, don't talk to me about that. Let's talk about Nigeria as a country. Let's talk about the future.
So we are all having this short-term mentality.
Yes.
And so, but see, is it too late to start?
And we do over and again. It's never too late to start if you think long-term, of course. But with respect to 2019, for instance, of course it's too late to start. The elections have been won and lost already 10 months to the election. I can tell you that for free. Those that will win are almost winning. Those that will lose have almost lost. He would know. But with respect to fixing Nigeria, with respect to politics in Nigeria, it's never too late to get in. But if you're thinking election, of course, 2023 might almost be too late for some people because there are certain things you need to get doing already.
So what would you tell someone like Ife now, or just someone that's just thinking there, I think I'm going to throw my card in?
No, at all, you shouldn't. For me, what really, bothers me is the level of political participation. We talk a lot, but we really don't get into the nitty-gritty. Let me give you some figures.
What is nitty-gritty?
In 2015, Lagos, with a population of over 20 million people, over 6 million registered voters, less than 2 million voted in the presidential election. That's just about 30%. And you keep wondering, with all this noise we make on social media, you mean on election day, only 30% came out to vote. And the figures are not different if you go back to 2011, probably even worse. 25% voted presidential election. Then we ask ourselves, how do you want things to change? If on election, just on election, let's not even talk about party membership. If on election day you can't get out of the comfort of your living room and go and vote, they'll tell you, I'm sitting in the sun for 2 hours, I beg you, I'm going, no. We should stick with it. If we believe we want to change Nigeria, we must also realize that there's a price to pay.
We have to sacrifice.
There's a price to pay.
But you know,